Hello and welcome to Photoshop Super Shorts, the darn close to weekly series in which we attempt to show you in 5 minutes or less how to do something really cool with Photoshop. Today's episode, A Fistful of Keys. Okay, in this lesson we're going to be trying to do this complex and irritating pattern. It's going to take a long time to explain, so let's get right into it. It's not as complicated as it looks because it's actually a tiled pattern, which means this pattern is just one single piece repeated all over the place. The piece looks like this. And this piece isn't as complicated as it looks either, because it is also one piece reflected a few times. So this is the only actual complex piece we need to make. Let's get started. We begin with an 800 by 800 square document with a transparent background. Make sure that you have black as the foreground color, white as the background color. Click on the little color icon to get that. Make sure your Move tool has Auto Select selected. Hit Control A to select the entire document and Control Backspace to fill it with the background color. Next, we contract, using the selection menu, we contract the selection by 10 pixels. Then Control-Shift inverts the selection and Alt-Backspace fills that border with black. Alt-A reselects the entire square image, and now we hit Alt-Control-T to bring up the transform controls, which allow us to scale this holding Shift and Alt. At the same time, we scale it in somewhat. Let go of the mouse button, let go of the keys. Now move the little arrow control so that you get the curvy arrow, and we're going to rotate this frame to line up with the border. Then double click to accept the transformation. Now we've just transformed, we just rotated and scaled the graphic in one operation. So now if we hit Alt, Control, Shift, and tap T. This is the fistful of keys, by the way. Alt, Control, Shift. And we hit T, it'll repeat that transformation. Hit it again, it'll repeat it again. Now it's just a matter of hitting it until you're in the middle. Once you get to a certain point, continuing to whack it doesn't do much good, so hit Control D to stop the selection. And then whack this little mountain controller a few times to get close up in the center. And all I'm going to do is grab a brush, make sure it's a fairly small size, in this case about a 4 pixel brush. Alt brings up the color selector, and I just pick that color and fill it in the center. And that's really good enough. Control Alt 0 shows it to me full size. Now we've created the design. Now we need to shrink that border, so Alt A selects the entire thing, and we have a 10 pixel border, so we want half that. So we go to Select, Modify, Contract, we put in 5. That brings in the selection. Now we want to trim it to that size, so we just go to Image, Crop. Now this is a little large, and if I were doing this for print or something, I might leave it this big, but I'm not, and I don't want it to be this big. So for the sake of making things clear, okay, I'm going to take the image size to about 200 pixels, say about a quarter of its current size. And now we want to make the tile. Canvas size, want to use pixels. It's 200 now, so we want to make it about 500. So we have it double plus a little room to see. Don't need that, but you'll see. Now selecting the Move tool, we just shove that up into the corner and it'll snap into place. You don't have to fiddle with it. Holding down the Alt key Allows me to drag out a duplicate and snap that up there too. Edit, transform, flip horizontal. Or vertical would have worked in this case. It's a special case because this thing is symmetrical 4 different ways. Now, holding down Alt, we drag the original down under here and this mirrored copy over here. That gives us the tile. Merge visible. Now we've got one graphic that we can move around. Make the image bigger. By the way, if you wanted to export this right now as a web page background or whatever, and this was the image you wanted, you can go up to Image, Trim, and it's set to transparent pixels. That takes away everything that's transparent. It gives you exactly perfect fit to the image you just made. But what we want to do is tile it nice and big. So I'm going to set this to 1280, height 1024. Okay. And now we've got, can shrink it a bit so we can see it. We got this little tile here sitting on this expansive space. We can do whatever we want with. And all you have to do at this point is hold Alt, pull it out, and set it beside like that. Now if I kept going like this, I could obviously fill up the whole top row and so forth. I don't need to do that. Once you have the whole top row filled up, merge visible, and then you can start pulling the whole thing down and putting it underneath. Now if you're putting this on a web page or something, you don't need to do this because the backgrounds tile automatically. All you have to do is that original square.